For anyone who's ever struggled, right? And I mean, like going through like a serious situation or just struggling to make ends meet, this, that, and the third, and you come out of it. When you come out on the other end, there's always a lesson to be learned, right? Because the thing for me is we're gonna make mistakes, and the goal is to not repeat history, not make the same mistakes over and over and over again. So there's always a lesson to be learned. And you know, I've had to learn a lot of lessons the hard way. Hard head, strong will, you know what I mean, independent. And I jumped out here. I jumped off the porch at 18, and yeah, I had learned a lot of lessons the hard way, a lot of trials, a lot of tests, a lot of tribulation. You know what I'm saying? A lot of it was on me. A lot of it was just me making dumb choices and dumb decisions because I really didn't have the blueprint, you know what I'm saying, so to speak. And you know, it's value in that because you learn a lot about yourself when you're going through it. And one thing that my mom used to always harp on me was that it's not what you're going through, it's your attitude when you're going through it or whatever. And it took a long time for me to like digest that and kind of get what she was saying, because with everything comes maturity. And for me, I was I wouldn't say rebellious, so to speak, but I had my mind set on what I wanted to do and how I was gonna do it. You know what I mean? And then when it didn't go that way, uh, yeah, you learn, and so I look back and I think about like a lot of. I remember the first time I went without eating. Right, like I messed my little money up, and I had to go like 3 days without no food, and it was funny because I remember it was a Tuesday afternoon. The last thing I had to eat, I went to the convenience store right up the street from me, and I bought a 99-cent bag of chili cheese fries. That was the last thing I had to eat. $1.02. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, yo. And so at this time, I'm like 18. I was working at like Walmart. I was working like third shift, right? And messed my little money up. So I'm like, I didn't get paid till like Friday. I'm tapped out. You know what I mean? I mean, that's my word. I had nothing. I had nothing. I had just enough gas in my tank to get me to work and home. To work, back home. You know what I mean? And so I'm like, hey, yo. And it's funny because I work at Walmart. And obviously there's a lot of things in there that you can, you know what I'm saying, you can snatch, you can grab up real quick, duck off, but I didn't want to do that. You know what I'm saying? I didn't want to. First and foremost, I always just assumed there was a camera on me at all times. But it was just like, yo, I can't be getting fired for like stealing some gummy snacks or something like that. You know what I mean? So it was just like I never did it. And so I did a lot of sleeping. It was just like, yo, getting weaker and getting weaker. And so Friday finally run around and get my little check. First stop I made, I went to Burger King, right? And got my food, and I'm in the car and I'm driving home, and I'm smelling the food coming out of the bag, and I'm like I was kind of off a little bit. I was feeling kind of funny, right? So I'm like, regardless, I get to the crib. I ain't even go in the apartment. I pulled up and I grabbed a burger and I took a bite out of it. And I immediately got sick. I'm talking about throwing up the whole night. I just immediately got sick. I probably vomited 3 times my entire life. I'm like, yo, what is this? Nothing but stomach acid coming up. And it was just like, yo, had to go in the crib, lay down or whatever. Throughout the day, I started eating like small things. And I'm like, I ate some of the fries that were cold and stale or whatever. And it was just like, I had to slowly like introduce food back into my system. And by that night, I was kind of okay. You know what I'm saying? I was able to actually put something on my stomach. And, there it was. But there was a lesson. There was value coming from that. You have to be able to manage your money better. You got to be able to think a little further down the road. You know what I'm saying? And it was just like, that was like my first lesson that really taught me, hey, yo, you can't just be out here wasting money. You got to know what to do with it. And it was funny because, I remember I had a stereo, right? I used to pawn the stereo like once a week, like once every other week. And when you pawn something, they put like a little sticker, like a little tag on the side. Like the entire side of the stereo was just covered in these pawn stickers or whatever. I ain't even take them off. And I would tell bro, I'm like, all right, I'll be back in a week. You know what I'm saying? Like, that was just my way of having a little extra. I literally counted that into my budget. All right, I'm pawn my stereo. You know what I'm saying? Get this little money and then I'll have that. You know what I'm saying? And there have been a myriad of lessons that I've had to go through and learn the hard way. I mean, just from my attitude and maturing as a person and things of that nature. The first time, because I had a lot of highs and I had a lot of lows. You know what I'm saying? And some of my lows was, I remember I had to sleep in my car for like 3 days. I slept at the park one night. But I slept at the park because of my attitude and my pride. It was just like, I couldn't swallow it to ask someone, yo, can I bum your sofa for a night, this, that, and the third. It was just like, I ain't really want anybody to know what I was going through. And so here I am, trying to figure it out. And the thing about the struggle then compared to like 2025, like, you could exist and eat while struggling back then. You know what I'm saying? Because I remember this was around like 01, 02. I remember Walmart used to have these Tostino pizzas. And they still sell them, but they trash now. You know what I'm saying? But back then, it's like they was popping. I'm talking about loaded with toppings. They was 99 cents. And I could literally, my grocery list consisted of going and getting 10 of these pizzas, some juice, and some cereal. And I was good. I was good for like a week plus. You know what I'm saying? Off of like maybe $18. You know what I'm saying? Because it was doable back then. And that's the difference between like the economy and things then compared to now, with everything being so high now. But I look back on all the lessons that I had to learn the hard way, either because of my attitude, my ego, my pride, or, just wanting to figure it out on my own. I was big on just wanting to figure this thing out on my own. And, you learn, you grow, you mature, and you're the better person for it. And I look back at a lot of the struggles that I had, and I'm thankful for. I'm thankful for like all the heartache, all the struggle. I'm thankful for all of that because it helped mold me into who I am today. It almost like bulletproof my skin to a certain degree, because it was just like, I'm young, I'm out here, and whatever life throwing at me, I'm dealing with it. And I ain't always deal with it the right way. But if you can come out the other end, you're a better person for it. You know what I mean? And that's something that I look back on now. Because like I say, there are a lot of people out here struggling now. There's a lot of people in this economy and barely making ends meet. And it's one thing to go through it when you're 18, 19. But it's a whole nother monster when you're in your 30s or your 40s or your 50s and so on. But with everything comes wisdom. With everything comes maturity. And I can look at how I've matured as a person, even from 10 years ago, because I'm going through adversity right now. Got a lot on my shoulders, got a lot that I'm dealing with, things of that nature. But my attitude is not the same as it was, back then. You know what I'm saying? It's just like I'm able to have a more positive spin and outlook on, the future, because the future for me is brighter than some of my darker days that I've already come through. And it's just like, if you can come through those dark days, it'll encourage you, it'll motivate you to not want to return. And that's the thing about when I was going through my depression and things of that nature. I didn't know what it was. I felt like I didn't have anybody to talk to. So I had to just swallow it. I had to just internalize it. I had to just deal with it in my own way, And one thing with me being so strong headed and sometimes bullheaded at times is I'll find a way out of whatever I'm in. I can't rely on any external force or person to help guide me out of the darkness. That was my road I had to travel. And in doing so, it just really humbles you. It strengthens you. It gives you a type of resolve to know that, whatever life got for me, I'm gonna deal with it, because it's gonna come. And that you can't do anything about it. You know what I'm saying? You literally cannot predict. I had a bad habit of always trying to prep for the next bad thing, to the point to where when something good would happen to me, I really couldn't even enjoy it because I'm already focused on, okay, what BS coming around the corner. You know what I'm saying? So I've always been kind of like just that even kill person. I never get too high, never get too low. And, I look now at a lot of the mistakes I made, and it was really because of my attitude. I had issues with authority and things of that nature, and you couldn't tell me what to do. That's at the end of the day, it was what it was. You couldn't tell me what to do. I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do, and whatever come with that, I'll accept it. And yeah, you're gonna learn a lot of things the hard way when you refuse to reach out when you need to. There were times that I could have had help, if I just reached out. But I guess it was just that young pride in me, to where it was just like, nah, if I gotta ask you for it, nah, I'd rather go without it. And that's what I did most of the time. I would just go without. If I gotta ask you for it, I'll just go without. Because I don't like people doing things for me, because I don't want anybody holding anything over my head where you remember a time where you remember this. No, I don't need you to remind me of the time that I had to ask you for something, and I learned that at a young age. My mom's did that one time, and it was just like, she kind of threw it back up in my face, and I'm like 10, 11 years old, and it stuck with me. I didn't like the feeling then, I don't like it now. And so it was just like, yeah, if I got to go without that, cool. And like I say, a lot of lessons, a lot of bruises, but if you can come out the other end and still be standing on your own too, hey, that's a lesson. And that's something that you can teach someone else, so that maybe you can prevent them from making the same mistakes, that you did. And because again, we all know what the economy is with inflation and everything. I had an apartment when I first moved back down to Georgia. I had an apartment, and the rent was like $505, 2-bedroom, 1 bath, right? That same apartment, all they did was repaint it. Same apartment now, over $1,000. You know what I'm saying? And so it's just like, it's wild work out here. You know what I'm saying? They beating the taxpayers over the head with just inflated prices, and the prices are just inflated because they can inflate them. No real reason behind it other than just, I'm gonna get as much out of you as I can get. And so I look at how things were when I was young and out here, and it was just like, it was still manageable. I mean, as a young kid that didn't know anything, it was manageable. because all you really needed was a couple of dollars in your pocket. I mean, you could eat, you could do your thing, you could move around, and it was cool. You know what I'm saying? That was part of the process back then. But nowadays, man, with everything being how it is, it's just like I understand why a lot of people are just mentally under just this distress. You look at depression just sky high, and people hit going through the self checkout line. Just everything is just higher because again, and a lot of people that are dealing with it now never had those struggles before. And see, that's why I'm thankful for all of my early struggles. You know what I'm saying? Because each struggle was a lesson. There was value to come out of all of that heartache. And so it's just you have to be able to just maintain. There's nothing wrong with being down and having a moment, but you can't stay there. Tomorrow you got to get up and take a step forward. And like I said, as I'm making this video, I got things on me right now. I got life on me right now. You know what I mean? But I'm cool because it's just like it'll work out. It'll work out, one way or the other. And if it doesn't, then you gotta do something else. That's the game. And so be encouraged. You know what I'm saying? I know that there's just a lot on your plate. We're all going through it and things of that nature, but be encouraged. Have the right mindset, have the right attitude. Like, understand this system for what it is. And that reality doesn't care about your feelings. It doesn't. The universe does not care about your feelings. So at the end of the day, you still gotta put forth the effort to where, you know what? Yeah, yesterday was rough, but tomorrow might be a little better. It may not, but next week may. You got to get through it. You got to get through it, and that's the thing. You got to get through it. For all my people out here who don't have that safety net, who can't make that call to so and so and borrow so and do this. For those without the safety net, I feel it. I feel you. I know what you're going through. But be encouraged. You know what I'm saying? Like, I watch a video with this guy on YouTube, and like he was homeless for like a couple of months or whatever. But he was upbeat. You know what I'm saying? Because he done been through the fire before. It's amazing what we can deal with. It's amazing what we go through, and it doesn't break us. There have been so many situations throughout my lifetime to where it should have broke me. It should have broke me. You know what I'm saying? But it didn't. There was plenty of times. By the time I hit 25, I was burnt out from life. I was done. I was ready to go. I had my bags packed. I'm saying, like, man, you can have this. If this all that this thing has to offer, you can keep it. You know what I mean? But I'm still here. So while I'm here, I might as well make the best out of this ride. You know what I mean? And it's possible. It's possible. You're gonna struggle. I mean, you're gonna have so much adversity that come at you to where it literally feels unfair. There are plenty of times, man, where I'm just sitting here like, why me? Like, every time I turn around, something hitting me over the head. Every time I turn around, I'm losing somebody, or this, or that. I'm struggling over here. And it was just like, hey, yo. You know what I mean? But be encouraged. You know what I'm saying? Like, be encouraged, man, because again, I'm telling you, the sun is gonna come up regardless. So you may as well put your game face on and muscle through it. That's what you have to do. And I've done it so many times. You know what I mean? I got good at it. And so the goal is to get to a point to where that struggle is in your past and not your present. Everything that you've gone through, there's a lesson to be learned. You know what I mean? There's a lesson to be learned from it. And so be encouraged, because the amount that you've already gone through, so many of us have gone through things that should have broke us, should have taken us out, but we still here. And we here for a reason and a purpose. Now, what that is, you're going to have to find it out on your own. But be encouraged, you know what I mean? Have the right attitude. Can't walk around with the woe is me mentality, you know what I mean? You can't just walk around, man, this it's not fair that this, it's always been that. It's always been like that. Anything that you can talk about now, it's been in place since we've been here. You know, but you gotta learn how to maneuver. You gotta learn how to move. You gotta learn how to hustle. You gotta learn how to deal with that struggle. Take it on the chin, you know, and push past it. Because it's temporary. It really is temporary, you know. And I'm telling you, as someone who been through the mud, it's temporary. But it's all about your mindset, your makeup, and your character on how you're gonna get through it. You know, and again, be encouraged, you know, because like the old heads used to always say, I'm like, yeah, you know, darkness before the dawn. I got sick and tired of hearing all of that. You know what I'm saying? Like old head, like my grandmother, well, yeah, it's gonna rain, but you know, the sun come. Yo, I wasn't even trying to hear that. I'm like, man, it's been raining for a long time. It's been raining for a long time, you know, and you want to give up, but for most of us, it's not in us. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you want to because that's the easy thing to do. But you know that if I could just overcome this obstacle, if I could just get around this hurdle, you know, I just need a little breathing room. You know what I'm saying? I just need a little breathing room. And that's trying to figure it out. We all out here just trying to figure it out. You know what I mean? So be encouraged. You know what I mean? And wanted to drop this because, again, like I say, I'm not talking about anything that I haven't gone through or currently going through. You know what I mean? And so, but you got to have the right head on your shoulders to navigate, especially in 2025. You know what I mean? And so, until the next one.